What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my fantasy football starts and sits for NFL Week 15.
Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over every position and give you my 2019 fantasy football starts and sits for NFL Week 15. This should help you decide who you want to start in your season-long fantasy football leagues. And we will show you how to use the Draft Dashboard tools to make better fantasy football picks. You can find waiver wire targets, get player point projections, find the best positional matchups to see who is projected to score the most fantasy points this week. These tools will help you decide what players to start in your fantasy football lineups. We have it all right here, so let's get into it. Okay, starts and sits for NFL Week 15. We're looking at the quarterback position. I'm going to start Baker Mayfield from the Cleveland Browns playing the Arizona Cardinals, who have the absolute worst defense overall, and they give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield has averaged 15.8 fantasy points per game on the season. He's projected at 17.3 fantasy points here in Week 15. Vegas thinks there's going to be 48 points scored in this game, and they have the Browns favored by 3. But it's going to be a close game, a competitive game, and a fantastic matchup. So I'm going to start Baker Mayfield here versus the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, who are we going to sit at the quarterback position here in Week 15? Once again, I'm going to sit Andy Dalton from the Cincinnati Bengals playing the New England Patriots. Of course, the Patriots have the best defense overall, and they give up the fewest fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. So that doesn't bode well for Andy Dalton, who's only put up 11 and 13 fantasy points in his game back from injury. He's projected at 15.3 fantasy points here in Week 15, but I don't trust him. It's a tough matchup. Vegas only thinks there's going to be 40.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Bengals trailing by 8.5. Although it's a home game for Andy Dalton, I'm going to sit Andy Dalton here versus the New England Patriots.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal,
All you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
and then we'll send you $100 PayPal.
So it's that easy.
And we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video.
So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, sit 'em, start 'em. We're looking at the running back position. I'm going to start Devonta Freeman from the Atlanta Falcons playing the San Francisco 49ers. So the 49ers have a good defense overall, and they've been good against opposing running backs. But Devonta Freeman is averaging 13.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 12.8 rush attempts per game and almost 5 pass targets per game. He's gotten 17 rush attempts in the previous 2 games, on the field for 63% of the snaps, and he touches the ball 38% of that time. Projected at 15.3 fantasy points here in Week 15. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47 points scored in this game. They have the Falcons trailing by 10.5, which isn't such a big problem because he's on the field for passing downs, so it's not a great matchup, but it's a high-scoring game, and a game he should get plenty of volume. So I'm going to start Devonta Freeman here versus the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, who are we going to sit at the running back position here in Week 15? I'm going to sit Sony Michel. If you haven't done so already, Sony Michel, despite a good matchup versus the Cincinnati Bengals, he's only scored 2, 5, and 9 fantasy points in the last 3 games, averaging 9.1 fantasy points per game on the season. He's just not getting enough consistent volume where you can trust him late in the fantasy season. Although he's averaging 14.5 rush attempts per game on the season, he only got 5 rush attempts last game and 10 the game before that. He's only on the field for 35% of the snaps. He's projected at 11.4 fantasy points here in Week 15. Vegas thinks there's going to be 40.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Patriots favored by 8.5. So it is a good matchup, but there's just too many ways for him to fail here. So I'm going to sit Sony Michel here versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay guys, if you're getting any value from this video, please hit that red subscribe button. We put out new fantasy football videos every day. So if you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification, you won't miss out on any of our new fantasy football videos. Tons of free stuff coming your way. It only takes a second, and it helps us push out more fantasy football content for you guys to consume each and every day. It's because of you subscribers that make this possible. So thank you for supporting this channel. Okay, sits and starts for NFL Week 15. I'm going to start Kenny Golladay from the Detroit Lions playing the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have the 3rd worst defense overall, and they give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Kenny Golladay has averaged 17.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.2 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 89% of the snaps. He scored 18 and 29 fantasy points in the last 2 games. He's projected at 13.1 fantasy points here in Week 15. He's $7,200 DraftKings salary. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Lions trailing by 4. So this is a home game and a fantastic matchup. Kenny Golladay has been productive despite the lack of quarterback play from Matthew Stafford. We've had David Blah, and he's been doing fine. So I'm going to start Kenny Golladay here versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. Okay, who are we going to sit in Week 15 at the wide receiver position? I'm going to sit Josh Gordon from the Seattle Seahawks playing the Carolina Panthers, who have the 7th worst defense overall, and they give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Josh Gordon has only averaged 6.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.6 pass targets per game. He got 5 pass targets last game, only scored 5 fantasy points. He's been on the field for 64% of the snaps. He's projected at 5.4 fantasy points here in Week 15. Vegas thinks there's going to be 48.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Seahawks favored by 6. So I just don't trust the consistent volume. He got 5 pass targets last game, but only 1 and 2 pass targets in the 2 games before that. And even with the 5 pass targets, he didn't do much with it. Although this is going to be a high-scoring game and a pretty good matchup, I would definitely find another wide receiver if you've got him. So I'm going to sit Josh Gordon here versus the Carolina Panthers.
Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, and you can try the tools for NBA. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, moving on to the tight end position. NFL Week 15, we're looking at the tight end position. I'm going to start Dallas Goedert from the Philadelphia Eagles playing the Washington Redskins, who have the 11th worst defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Dallas Goedert has averaged 8.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 5 pass targets per game. He got 6, 7, and 8 pass targets in the last 3 games, scoring 9, 13, and 7 fantasy points. He's on the field for 65% of the snaps, projected at 9.8 fantasy points here in Week 15. Vegas thinks there's going to be 40.5 points scored in this game. They have the Eagles favored by 6. So the Eagles have been banged up at the wide receiver position. Dallas Goedert should get plenty of volume. It's a great matchup. So I'm going to start Dallas Goedert here versus the Washington Redskins. Okay, who are we going to sit at the tight end position? I'm going to sit Jimmy Graham from the Green Bay Packers playing the Chicago Bears, who have the 7th best defense overall and give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Jimmy Graham has averaged 6.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3.7 pass targets per game. He's projected at 5.9 fantasy points here in Week 15. Vegas thinks there's going to be 41 points scored in this game, with the Packers favored by 4. So this is a home game, but I don't trust the volume. I don't think he can score enough fantasy points to get you the win. So I'm going to sit Jimmy Graham here versus the Chicago Bears.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.
Do you want more fantasy football picks? Check out the video linked right in the middle of the screen. If you got any value from this video, please tap that subscribe button before you get out of here and ring that bell notification so you won't miss our daily fantasy football uploads. We're putting out new videos every day, so I don't want you guys to miss any of our free content.